When we write proofs, there's going to be three things that we start out with. We're going to start out with a diagram right here, which may or may not have tick marks on it. We're going to start out with some givens, some things that they're telling us are true that we don't have to prove, and then they're going to finish with a statement, something that we're trying to prove. Okay, so when we begin writing our proof, and we're going to use this two-column format, every proof is going to start the same way, and that's going to be to begin with the givens. So start by writing down what you're given, and every time we make a statement, we need to say why we know it, our reason. And for our first part, we know that these statements are true because those are given. So go ahead and add those tick marks to your diagram if you need to, although in this one they've already done that. And that's sort of phase one of the proofs. Phase two is going to be to add any tick marks that we can to this. We can add tick marks. However, we need a reason to do that. And so we've talked about some of those reasons in class. And so in this example, I see in my two triangles that I have one side that both triangles share. And so I can add a tick mark to that third side, that AC side. And the reason I know that is because of something we've called the reflexive property. So I can add that tick mark right to the center. And that's the only tick mark I can add in this diagram. However, that's all we need to be able to get to where we're trying to get to, and that's to prove the triangles are congruent. And so our final statement is going to always be excuse me, is going to always be what we're trying to prove. And in this case, we're trying to prove the triangles are congruent. The reason that I know those two triangles are congruent to each other is going to be one of the 5 shortcuts we've discussed in class, which in this case is going to be side, side, side. So this is an example of what our proof would look like. Again, we're starting with what we're given. Next up, we're going to add any tick marks that we can. And then finally, we're going to see if we're able to get one of our 5 shortcuts. Once we've done that, we've proven the triangles are congruent. Just be sure that you have a reason to add what you're doing. You can't just go ahead and add tick marks and say they look congruent. That's not going to be allowed. We have to make sure we have good reasons.